With the release of the long-awaited 600-page Boruto guidebook, we gotten a ton of new information regarding everything about the Boruto series, and even some things that haven't been officially confirmed in the anime or manga. Since it's only out in Japan as of right now, I had to do a little research and digging to get my hands on some information that was included in the book. More specifically, I wanted some information on Boruto's Otsutsuki genetics to potentially find some clues that could lead us to fully realizing Boruto's true potential. And I did find out something I do think is pretty interesting, so let's discuss it real quick. So just giving everyone a quick recap on how Boruto's power works. Boruto's Otsutsuki power isn't just Momoshiki's power. Because of the circumstances he's been presented with, he's now something extremely unique, probably never before seen. A 100% Otsutsuki being with human experience and shinobi training. All that plus Momoshiki's power embedded in him. And through that procedure of Boruto becoming 100% Otsutsuki, it quite literally changed his entire world. It gave him abilities that shouldn't even be possible for any normal person. And most of this realization probably happened throughout the time skip. So unless Ikimoto shows us, we probably won't see everything pertaining to that. But just for an idea, if he wants to expand on the lore of the Boruto series, that's another route he could go that's also very interesting for the audience. But we know that most of these changes happened throughout the time skip, because when Boruto came back from his journey, we've seen that he gained the ability to fly. He probably realized this during his training with Sasuke, or maybe Kashin Koji. But there's probably other things he realized he could do as well. Some things that he just didn't show us yet. Like for example, and this is not really something relating to his Otsutsuki abilities, it's more so something that I believe he can do now. But maybe Boruto can perform fire style. It's not a big change, considering Boruto is a genius, so him learning another chakra nature on top of the others that he knows is to be expected. But like I said, it just falls into the category that we just don't know everything he learned in these past 3 years. And this includes his new Otsutsuki power. But unlike fire style, even if he did discover these new Otsutsuki abilities, he still wouldn't be able to freely use it because of his inability to access the Karma Seal whenever he wanted. Remember, by this time Momoshiki was still a heavy threat. Boruto may have gotten bailed out in the past when he lost control, but this time he just couldn't risk it. Sasuke or Kashin Koji probably wouldn't be able to stop Momoshiki this time around, meaning these characters die. So Boruto opted to not even play around with it. So he stopped using karma for years out of pure fear for his master's life. So he couldn't use Momoshiki's abilities without the karma, but he was still able to fly. And this is because of the fact that he's 100% Otsutsuki. So this confirms the ability to fly doesn't belong to any specific Otsutsuki. It's a base ability that every Otsutsuki is born with the potential to do. So flying to them, it's like walking and talking to us humans. It's really just second nature. But recently, Boruto did something that granted him even more Otsutsuki power than he ever had at his disposal. And I'm pretty sure most of you are caught up with Tubular Vortex or close to it, so you already know what I'm about to mention. Boruto made a deal to offer up his body in exchange for Momoshiki's power. Now, this allowed Boruto to do a few things. It allowed him to access more physical power from the Karma Seal. It also allowed him more versatility in battle and full access to all of Momoshiki's abilities and powers. Imagine this scenario as a normal case of an Otsutsuki taking over a new vessel. But instead of them in control, it's the original soul that the body belonged to that's in control. That's the only difference. When Momoshiki resuscitated Boruto, he sacrificed his remaining resurrection data to rebuild Boruto's body. So this remaining data still went into Boruto's body, which is exactly where it was supposed to go. But it's how it entered his body which was the big problem. So now Boruto lives and remains in control of his own body, while gaining Momoshiki's entire genetic data. So of course this accounts for everything, even his abilities and all the techniques he knew while he was in his own original body. And while that statement might be a bit straightforward, I don't really think you all understand what that means for Boruto. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, it's not only that Boruto has Otsutsuki abilities now, it's that he's a hybrid of a shinobi with Otsutsuki abilities. That's what makes this so unique. And in the guidebook that was just released, Ikimoto confirmed that Boruto now has the ability to do something that Momoshiki showed us very early on in the series. And I did make a video on that last month, so if you guys want to check that out, I will leave the link to that in the description down below. And that video kind of encouraged me to make this video, because if he can perform that ability, then it really confirms that he has the potential to show any of these other abilities any chapter now. And just in case you all didn't see the video I'm referring to, I'll just start off with that ability. So this is what we're gonna call Momoshiki's amplification ability, the technique based off his palm rinnegan that allows him to absorb any type of chakra and change in chakra nature, whether it's fire, wind, lightning, water, or earth. He amplifies his power tenfold and throws it back. I guess the amplification part is the most important part, but you can see this ability is highly destructive. Clearly enough power to wipe out an entire village in one fell swoop. And I might be undermining his power when I say that, but just know it is pretty strong. It took Naruto to manifest the Kurama avatar in order to stop even just one of these things from wiping Konoha off the map. I guess the only downside to this is that it is pretty situational. I mean, the only time Momoshiki really got a chance to use it was when idiots like Boruto and Katasuke just gave him the fuel in order to perform the ability. So going up against smart fighters who have experience fighting Otsutsuki, they're not just gonna throw attacks at Boruto that he can just absorb and throw back. So I don't expect him to use that ability much throughout the series, unless he just fights someone who refuses to adapt their fighting style once they realize Boruto can absorb any form of chakra. Like when they were fighting Momoshiki, Sasuke told Naruto to not use any ninjutsu against Momoshiki because he can just absorb it, and they didn't use it. Boom. The ability becomes a non-factor. So like I said, it's a good ability, but extremely situational. But an ability that's not situational in the slightest is Momoshiki's Byakugan. Now I feel like I have quite a bit to say about this, because this has the potential to be Boruto's greatest weapon at his disposal. Mostly because it's not just an ordinary Byakugan. Now this is something we've seen Boruto use recently, multiple times. And unlike the amplification ability, we'll see Boruto use the Byakugan plenty throughout the series. It's just too versatile. Now I know everyone watching this video knows what the Byakugan is and its abilities, so it's pretty redundant to harp on that at this point. But I'll just talk about how Boruto uses it. Like I said, I'll mention it again. Boruto's biggest advantage with these Otsutsuki abilities is that he's a hybrid between a shinobi and Otsutsuki. So he has these foreign powers, but he's a shinobi at heart, and he thinks like one too. That's honestly my favorite part about this power. Now look at how he used the Byakugan in combination with another technique that he learned from Sasuke against Momoshiki, the Shuriken Jutsu. This angle was impossible to hit, but he learned from Sasuke that he could use a second Shuriken to change the direction of the first one to hit difficult angles. He not only did that, but he implemented another technique he learned more recently, the Flying Raijin. He used this ability to teleport to the Shuriken that landed on the Momoshiki body to land a devastating Rasengan. So this sequence just shows off the crazy potential that Boruto has with the Byakugan. He essentially has no blind spots now too. So him using this in battle looks very different than how any past Byakugan user used theirs. Like, who do you think would be more overpowered with the Byakugan? Minato or Naruto? Now stop imagining, because it doesn't matter. Boruto is all of that combined. This advantage would really be highlighted when fighting in a heavily wooded area where his enemies have a lot of places to hide. Behind trees, in bushes, holes in the ground, the treetops. Boruto can see it all and get to the enemy's location in an instant. Or like how Minato, and now more recently how Boruto fights, they spread ninja tools all across the battlefield to increase the element of surprise and make their movements more unpredictable. Now boom, there's like 50 ninja tools all across the battlefield that you probably don't even know about. And Boruto can teleport to any of them whenever he wants. Oh, and because of the Byakugan, he knows where you're at all times. Seems pretty overpowered, right? But what if I told you Boruto has an even more overpowered ability, and it still mainly comes from his Byakugan? Yeah, I'm talking about Foresight. That's why I said that Momoshiki's Byakugan is no normal Byakugan. And it's already confirmed that this is a unique power only belonging to Momoshiki. He can see into another individual's future with his Byakugan. Even though it is limited, meaning not as good as prescience, it's still something that adds onto Boruto's expansive arsenal. And as we can see from throughout the story, the Foresight is pretty accurate for the most part. It shows you a possible, not multiple possible futures like prescience, but one possible future out of many possibilities. And the future it shows you is probably the most probable future based on the current string of events happening. And he can only see the future through one person's perspective, so he can't see the general future, it has to be through someone's perspective. And this could give him good information on the future, but it may lack context. Like for example, he may see the Shinju evolving into their final form, but he won't know why or when it'll happen, which he can only see in motionless images. So it's not the strongest form of foresight out there, but you quite literally don't need it to be. Especially since Kashin Koji is still in the story. And as long as Koji is alive, they'll still use prescience as their main source of information. And then if something happens to him, I guess Boruto takes over in that department. Another Otsutsuki ability I think could benefit Boruto a lot is the time stop power. Now there's nothing of significance here, but it is something that Momoshiki can do. He can sort of place time on a hold. He mostly did it to talk to Boruto. Now I don't think he can do this and at the same time interfere with other people, meaning it's most likely another reality as a whole. Something completely unseeable for normal people. I think it's sort of like Madara's limbo ability. That's why only Sasuke could see it with his Rinnegan. Now Boruto could probably use this ability by technicality, but while using it, I don't think he'll be able to fight because of this ability only existing in another realm of reality. But I digress, it's a rather cool ability to have. That's really it. So now we move on to some of the best abilities that Momoshiki has, at least my favorite personally, and that is his summoning abilities. So for this category of summoning abilities, I'm also including his weapon creation ability he got when he absorbed Kinshiki. And this ability we mainly only seen in the anime. I'm including this because I think this would be one of the most useful and versatile abilities that we see from Boruto, mostly because he himself is a sword user. So to be able to create weapons to use in battle would be genius for his character. Katanas, axes, all of the above. It'll just make him even more dangerous and adaptive to any battle he's currently in. And when we're talking about the big boys, his new summonings, the Pheasant Hunter and the Monkey Golem, the best part about this is that they both have some very interesting Chinese mythology lore behind it too. I don't know when we could possibly see him pull this one out, because like the amplification ability, it is situational as well. Like most of the times, he'll just never use it in Konoha, and he probably won't use it against stronger foes like the Shinju because it wouldn't give him the advantage he needs. Like when Momoshiki used it against Kurama's avatar, Boruto would probably need to be fighting a larger, much slower enemy to really justify using it. So the concept behind it is brilliant, but still very situational. Kinda like most large-scale summonings in the Naruto series. I'd like to add a small nugget for you guys as well. The Rasengan. Even though it is Boruto's ability, Momoshiki took that ability and made it his own in the form of the Rasengan, which is just a smaller Rasengan that can be launched as a bullet. It packs a punch too, so it's really dangerous when using it against humans. But when using it against the divine trees that have extremely powerful regeneration abilities, pretty useless. But I have to add it because it's technically a part of Boruto's Otsutsuki abilities. We also have some smaller scale abilities. Now these are powers that Boruto can do, but we either probably won't see him do it much, or we already seen him do it and it's not nothing crazy. Like for example, the Otsutsuki teleportation portal. I mean, it is a cool ability, but Boruto has FTG that basically does the same thing, and he can use it in the midst of battle. So I'd much rather him use FTG than to use portals, unless it's to another dimension that he's just never been to. I mean, if that's the case, then I guess he'll have no choice. But most of the times, we'll probably just see him use FTG. And also, we have just the base karma abilities: absorption, physical amplifications to his strength, speed, and durability. And although it's technically not an ability, I just want to add that one of the most fascinating aspects of Boruto's evolution is that his greatest powers may not be the ones he inherited from Momoshiki. They may be the ones he created himself. Now that he has become a complete Otsutsuki while retaining his own identity, Boruto stands at a crossroads unlike any character before him. Instead of simply inheriting Momoshiki's arsenal, he has the potential to evolve beyond it. And when I say evolve, I'm mainly just referring to his current abilities like the FCG and Uzuhiko. Because of his new Otsutsuki physiology, he could take these abilities even further, making them even stronger than they ever been. And with a body that has surpassed normal human limitations, Boruto may eventually gain complete mastery over multiple chakra natures, advanced chakra manipulation, and entirely new forms of ninjutsu. Instead of copying Momoshiki's techniques, he could combine divine Otsutsuki power with centuries of shinobi knowledge to create abilities that have never existed before. So even though this is the extent of Boruto's Otsutsuki abilities now, the potential is endless. So much so that I might have to do multiple videos just like this. So let me know what your favorite Otsutsuki ability from Boruto is, or potential ability. Leave all that good stuff in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to give it a read. And yeah, without further ado, if you all enjoyed this video and don't mind seeing more like this in the near future, go ahead and like the video, comment, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you know whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And until my next one, I'll see you boys and girls later. And I'm out. Peace.